Hey, you're watching another episode of the O Show podcast. It's episode 501. We are presented by Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness is an inclusive, high-intensity fitness experience developed by the man himself, ladies and gents, Floyd Money Mayweather, formulated with the perfect combination of boxing, strength, and cardio conditioning intervals designed to make you look good, feel good, and leave you with more than just a great sweat. So head on down to Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. We're also sponsored by BetOnline.ag. You can sign up for that 50% bonus by using the promo code capital BLEAV50. Again, Tom Brady announcing he is back for season number 23, much to the dismay of New York Jets fans around the world. Even though he's out of the division, they still are pretty pissed that he's back. But we're sponsored by BetOnline.ag. Had to throw that out there. We're also presented by Eat Clean Phoenix, Arizona's #1 meal delivery service, Tuesday through Sunday. So head on over to eatcleanphoenix.com for more information. We have Adam Black, or not Adam Black, according to your Instagram.
Don't be fooled.
Like, what the hell is all that about? See, I am Jack O'Hara. You're not Adam Black.
Yeah, just polar opposites over here. But you know what? I went with it. Wasn't too creative with the name. My first ever online name was my Yahoo account when I was like 11. And it was ArcherBoy94 at Yahoo, which is the stupidest name.
Archer Boy.
Yeah.
My first Xbox gamer tag was Jack Rocks 11. ROX 11.
That's a good one.
No, it is not. And then it was Ogletree ITC, because I'd always play Madden growing up, and Kevin Ogletree was like the most irrelevant wide receiver on the Cowboys at the time. He was like one of their fourth string wide receivers, and I'd always use him. And it was just like an inside joke. So Ogletree ITC in the corner, because I'd always find him in the back corner of the end zone.
That's good, man. That's by the way, the whole Tom Brady thing,
ridiculous.
Oh, I hate it.
Here, scoot up a little bit.
Okay.
So you can see yourself on the screen there.
Yeah. No.
Can see you.
Am I in it? In frame?
There you go.
Yeah. No, not a fan. The first team I ever got into was the Packers.
Why?
My best buddy at the time. My family didn't watch pro that much. Like, we're an Auburn family for NCAA. Big Rodgers fan. That's very controversial these days. People don't like him. I still like him, and I was not happy to see Brady coming back.
Well, here's the thing. I grew up a Cowboys fan, and I'm like, okay, like the Rams are going to be a problem in the NFC, but that's basically it. Who knows what the Cardinals are going to be with the whole Kyler situation.
Yeah.
Other than that, people are restarting. Like, if the Packers trade Rodgers, we're good. Hell, if Sean McVay leaves the Rams, they could be in turmoil. If Aaron Donald retires.
Like early retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I guess both Aaron Donald and him are coming back, and now Rodgers re-signs with the Packers, and then yesterday the bombshell that the Buccaneers are back on the island of relevancy because Brady's back for a 23rd year. They basically retained everyone.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, whatever.
I should be happy because I'm from South Florida. But, there wasn't much to root for with the Dolphins the entire time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
what are you going to do?
South Florida, let's learn a little bit more about Adam Black.
Sure.
Grew up in South Florida.
I grew up in a Homestead, which is the place that was destroyed by Hurricane Andrew.
NASCAR's infamous.
Yep, that's about it. We're exit 5 of US 1. I'm sure there's a couple, but we are like the original exit 5. 5 more, you're in the Keys.
Right.
So, like, southernmost tip. Town got destroyed about 30 years ago from Hurricane Andrew. I'm always going to rep 305, but not the best place,
So when did you come out here? Was it for school, or have you been out here?
No. I moved out here July of last year. So I've moved a bunch.
So we already talked New York. We talked Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay, so this
bombing all over the place.
This is the whole set. Yeah, exactly. This is the whole setup. So grew up there, turned 18. I didn't want to go to a Florida college because I just want to do something new. Go to a place I didn't know anybody. So I moved to Birmingham, lived with my grandma, and worked like 2-3 jobs at the same time. Got in-state residency. Went to Auburn for 4 years. Did summers over in South Florida with the family. Then I did Houston for a year, Baltimore 2, Brooklyn for 1, and then I came out here in July. So just kind of hop skipping.
Do you think that benefits you, or would you ever rather had a childhood where it was more stable?
I got the full 18 years, So my parents are missionaries. I actually almost grew up in Cuba.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a different setup, and I do comedy, so bit of a disappointment, but what are you gonna do? So
as of right now, maybe, but in a few years, wait till it hits.
Yeah, when I start making more than $20.
How many stories have you heard where parents were like, "Yeah, my son's doing stand up. It's gonna tell
Love
jokes
it.
for a living.
My mom just saw my first jokes 1 month ago. Because
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't even know she's on Instagram. Apparently she's been following me for years. Had no idea. So she saw a joke. And I mean, look, I love my parents. Love everything about it. They're phenomenal parents. But I have a joke about Superman coming out as gay. And it's if anything, it's like a pro-Superman joke. I was like, honestly, who gives a fuck? You know,
Yeah.
like, it's a comic book. She saw it, though, and I used some choice language. And
Oh God.
I got a call from my
Yeah.
dad, and I was like, hey, just did a 10-minute set. It was fun. He's like, yeah, about comedy, by the way, son. And I went through the full ring. I'm 27,
God.
but what are you going to do, man? It's parents.
Dude, the first set I ever did was about my family. So
Yeah.
all Jersey, all Boston, right? And I basically
it.
just amplified it to make them all seem like batshit fucking insane.
Yeah, well, they are from Jersey and Boston, so
And
it's got to be a
my
little
dad's
bit.
like loved it, you know, like you had to do
Yeah.
what you had to do. My mom,
Yeah.
on the other hand, like wouldn't talk to me for a few days.
Took it personal.
My grandmother hated it. You know,
Really?
it's like what this isn't us. This doesn't represent us. Well, I'm like,
Interesting, okay.
I'm like I had to make it funny. Like
Yeah.
you go up there to make people laugh.
Definitely, yeah. That's that's one thing, and you'll start getting it the more you do like comedy and
Yeah.
stuff. Almost everybody and their mother, like anytime they find out that I do stand up, they're like, "Oh, I bet you've done jokes about me." I'm like, honestly, I never did the family stuff. Like at some point I will when I kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do, man? Like we're here for giggles. Like that's like the way I look at comedy is I'm like, okay, I'm a clown. Like I go up on stage to make people kind of forget a little bit of their day. What are you gonna do, dude? Sometimes you get shots fired at you. You roll with the punches. You have a good time. You know.
See, that's the thing that I always worried about. Like the first or second time I did it was like if I say something and someone like comes at me, how am I
Yeah.
going to be able to adapt and like make a joke out of that?
Yes.
Because that's what separates you.
It's tough, yeah. Yeah. I've had a couple jokes where like I used to do a competition in Baltimore occasionally. It's called
Yeah.
Run the Lights, which is a tough type of one because you get like 3 minutes, and then after that, if the crowd doesn't like you, they flash you with their phones. So you just
That's
start seeing
interesting.
phones illuminate like your face as they're like, nah, get off. And I went to one, and there wasn't much of a crowd. There's maybe like 15 comics, which is not a good crowd, and then like 7 people that were actually there for the show.
Yeah.
And I used to do this one, like when I was younger in college, I'd do like a little bit of acting, honestly, just to make whatever money I could. And I love TV and film. So I love seeing how everything operates,
Right.
stuff like that. So the whole premise was I literally only ever had 2 lines. One was this Nickelodeon show from a show called Talia's in the Kitchen, which horrible naming, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stuck
Almost
with that.
half the shows on Nickelodeon.
Dude,
It's like,
it was
who-
bad.
who
It was a
wrote the title?
telenovela. Yeah.
Some of the shows are really good too, and
Oh,
it's
of
like,
course.
well, the name doesn't really make sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, Talia's in the Kitchen was about like a 7-year-old girl who was a professional chef.
Yeah.
You know, not a good whole premise, whatever. And the naming, I don't know if you want to say, hey, get back in the kitchen, Talia. You know what I'm saying? It's a horrible setup. And my entire line was, oh, and the soup of the day. And I was like 23 playing the part of like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And the whole cast was like 13. And I was like, why? Like, I'm getting typecast as like this younger looking, whatever, it doesn't matter. The only other line I had was this show on this platform called Black Pills. And so Black Pills was something where somebody like invested like $100 million to do short shows. They've done like 1 or 2. They always fail. All these platforms fail. And it was called Duels. And the whole premise of the show was, what if dueling was legal again? That was it. It was just like that. And it was like these 2 guys in high school decide to duel because one guy was like a piece of shit to his like girlfriend. My one line was, I was like a henchman of the bad guy in it, which don't know. And my line was, yeah, and if you win, you can make him your slave. Yeah, first of all, I was saying it to a white guy. It's a white guy. It was bad. The director was a French guy, and I distinctly remember going up to the guy and being like, hey, listen, man, what if I just call him a bitch instead? Like, you see what I look like, right? Like, I look like what Hitler wanted, dude. Don't let me... I was like, don't let me say this line, you know? And so the whole premise of the joke was, like, I've been typecast. This line, like the bitchiest line ever, you know, oh, and the soup of the day. And the other one is, I'll make him your slave. You know, I was like, it was horrible. And this one lady thought I was like pro saying that. She just goes, no, and then starts flashing me. And I was like, no, you don't get it. I'm on your side. Like, I literally talked to the director. It was like a 22-year-old kid, never really worked in anything acting. He was like, can I just call him you bitch? Like, is that okay? And he was like, no, I like the line.
So when I do this bit later, when I do stand-up later on in my life, like, I don't want old ladies yelling at me.
Yeah.
It's like,
what are you going to do? It's just going to
like, when cancel culture comes around, like, I can't call people slaves, you know?
Yeah. You know, 22-year-old me saw that I was going to make $400 a day, so I was like, I'll take the paycheck, but please don't make me say this.
I could totally be like, oh, yeah, I was on Henry Danger. I'd be like, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what's funny is, like, I knew that it wouldn't go well, like, whenever they did the thing. This is one of the only times I've ever seen it in an actual show. Yeah. When I say the line, I say it, and the frame was from behind my head. They didn't even show my face. And I was like, I've never even seen it. I was like, yeah, I told you guys.
So disappointing.
Don't let me say this on there. And they stuck with it. But
that's so disappointing. You want to pursue any other further acting stuff? And I'll ask you to come closer one more time. I don't know why
still out.
There you go. Are you afraid to be on camera?
No, I love it. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a pro. Didn't you hear from those 2 lines?
Dude, you're on Nickelodeon.
Working actor. Working actor. No. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like stand-up. Stand-up's fun. It's a weird thing because you're like a one-man island, so you either live by your merits or you die, you know? And I've always liked that. It's just, I don't know. You can't really go into it with ego. I like that idea of just, like, jumping in there. Like, hey, man, I'm just trying to have a silly goose time. Life's rough. I've been sad before, you know? And I grew up in an area where I was like the only guy that looked like me, because like South Florida's like mostly like Latino, like it's just different. It's not a bunch of like Anglo population, and my parents were missionaries, so like all they would do is play like worship music in the house. And then I went to like a pretty rough school. My school, the fire alarm caught on fire at one point. I'm not even lying. You know the blinking, the blinking thing. Yeah. That's how ghetto my school was, dude. It was a weird place. So I just get like ripped in school because I was such a dork as a kid, and so like I just had to learn how to, you know, shoot back, you know, like have a fun time, and like it was fun, man. Like that's what you do as like a young. I kind of hate how people say like, oh, you shouldn't say that, whatever. It's like, yeah, if you go at it with bad intentions, and there's a few things you definitely should never say, but otherwise. Dude, any working class guy, like I grew up doing landscaping in July and like in South Florida. Yeah. It was brutal. And it's like all those people, like I was working with like, you know, me, like Latino guys, like black dudes, like these guys from Haiti. Like I worked with this 67-year-old guy from Haiti that could outwork all of us and stuff. And we just rip each other because it's fun, because life sucks when you're doing a labor job. You're doing whatever. The least PC people you'd ever meet in your life. And we're just saying wild stuff, you know? And I don't know. That's what, whenever people jump in and are like, oh, you can't do these jokes. It's like, dude, you probably grew up in like kind of a privileged lifestyle, because like if you work your way up, you're just having a goof, man. We're not.
It's like the double-edged sword of like telling a really inappropriate joke that doesn't hit. Then it's like, okay, it just didn't hit. Or if it hits and the crowd is just like so like anti.
Yeah.
Far left, like you can't say anything like that. Yeah. You're done.
Yeah.
Canceled.
I think the best spot is like somewhere in the middle, you know? Yeah. It's like, hey, listen, just know that I'm coming at it from a good spot. And then there are some people that say really messed up stuff. And it's like, hey, man, not a good joke, you know? And I think that's the merit of like stand-up comedy. Because there's like comedy reviewers, which I think is the stupidest thing, because
it's so subjective. Anybody could.
You get reviewed on stage. Like that's the whole thing. That's what's unique. I don't know of any other thing where you're supposed to get immediate feedback, maybe theater. But even then, it's like, it's not like they're doing constant jokes. It's not one person up there unless they're doing a monologue.
Dude, I was watching like, you know, some of Bill Burr's best stuff. Yeah. Of him talking about like, you know, like, oh, being a mother's the most difficult job in the world or something like that. Like telling that bit like 20 years ago at bars and it wasn't hitting. I'm like, that joke is hilarious.
It's great.
And it's like one of his best bits ever. He just kept using it and probably kept working on it to a point where it was one of the best bits he's ever done.
Exactly. No, I mean I think the Chris Rock bit, like the Chris Rock bit of like the difference between black people and Edward or whatever. It took him like 2 years to figure it out. Yep. But again, it's not coming from a hateful spot. He's just like, some people are wild, some people aren't, you know?
Right. I mean, you've performed in multiple different cities, so you could probably have a better understanding of like some jokes hit here, does not hit here at all.
Over there. Yeah.
Phoenix, I feel like, is all over the place.
Phoenix is because
there's people from all over the place.
There is, which makes it good. So one of the reasons why I came here from New York,
like I kind of found from moving from spot to spot to spot, I like a kind of a centrist state because you get people that are way out there, way out there. Most of the people are kind of in the middle. Those are the guys that are just like, hey man, we're just here to have fun, you know? We're here to have a good time, all that kind of stuff. But like when I was in New York, the people that police the comedy scene more than anybody else were the open micers, were the comics. Like the crowd could like a joke, and then someone would come up behind and be like, "Hey man, you can't say that, not at this mic." And it's like, first of all, not even a wild joke. Second of all, the people liked it, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like you're setting a stage where nobody can succeed except for whatever like kind of ideology you got. It's like it's just boring, dude. Politics gets real boring after a while.
Oh my! I mean, growing up back east in the tri-state area, like everybody's just negative all the time, whether they want to see it or admit it or not. Like looking at it from an outside perspective, visiting like once a year now.
Yeah.
People are just so entitled. They hold grudges. That's the worst thing I've noticed. Like, I know East Coast people out here that just hold grudges.
I think it's kind of a rougher environment, you know, cold winters, you know, it's a little
People
bit
are just in bad moods for 6 months.
cutthroat with like business, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think this is what it gets. And so you get really funny guys. Like you get guys like Tim Dillon coming out from like Long Island, like the ultimate just ranter. That's great, you know, but he's also, again, he's kind of center. Like he'll make points for every side, or he'll play devil's advocate. Like that's the funnest thing. Say wild things and just have a good time with it.
That's what makes him probably one of Joe Rogan's best guests.
Oh, 100%.
Because he talks about anything and everything, and he can make a joke about everything and anything.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know if you watched the show, but he just put on an episode called Dear Vladimir, where he writes a letter to Vladimir Putin, and he's just like, see, I'm a big proponent of strongly worded letters. Clearly it's stupid, you know, but it's funny, you know?
Dude, he's hilarious. We're going to have him on the show in the next few months. I'll invite you out for that one, just so we can get like a big Zoom call together.
That'd be awesome. Man.
Especially with like young and upcoming stand-up people who want to learn and just be around the guy.
Yeah.
Just bring up different scenarios from all over the place.
It's
like,
great,
what were
man.
some of like the early on experiences for you that made you think like I could be a stand-up comic because I went through this?
Yeah. Yeah, I always kind of make that joke because I had like such a good, like I had real loving parents, great parents, all that kind of stuff. I think it was just growing up in the school that I was. I mean, again, I get ripped on all the time. Like one of my jokes is I talk about when I was like 11 years old, I busted out half of my front tooth playing football.
Yeah.
I hit a parked truck, which is horrible. I went to breadbasket pass, caught it, smacked my face right into the truck. But what happened from there is there's this girl named I shouldn't say her name. There's a girl in my class. Sorry, almost did it.
I don't think she's going to watch.
No, she won't. A girl named Khadijah Gordon. You, Khadijah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's a lovely lady now. But every time I'd answer a question in class, she'd stand up and say, "Bitch, shut your escalator tooth-looking ass up." At 11, man. Like, that was, like, the level of just beratement. And I was like a fat, chubby little kid, short buzz cut. Like, my front tooth, I'd get like a filler, but it'd pop out all the time. So my teeth just went like that. And I lived life like that, man. I had thick Coke bottle glasses, all that kind of stuff. And the only way I could make friends, I had to just like be funny. So when I was a kid, I was like a major just goofball. And then like I've moved around a bunch, and it's like a good way to meet people, although most stand-up guys are psychopaths, by the way, which you'll keep finding out.
You've already told me that once.
Dude, they're nuts, man. I mean, most of the people are, especially at like an open mic, you get some guys that are really good, and you're like, oh, this guy's just really smart. He's really clever. He's whatever. Half the people that do open mics are clinically insane, you know? It's like, dude, you should be in an insane
It's all the
asylum,
same stuff, too. It's like just politics, sex, drugs.
Sex, yeah, they
like
don't bring it out.
Everybody's hitting on that. Like,
Yes.
Have you not watched the first 15 comics that have come up tonight? I'm like, do something different.
Yeah.
That's what won me a couple of weeks ago, because the first 5 that went up, sex, drugs, politics, and my entire set was about how people just talk about sex, drugs, politics.
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
ripped on all the other bad comedians.
And it hits with it. Yeah. I remember when I was in Baltimore, this one girl went up. She's not even like a stand-up, and maybe it was like her first or second time, but she's like a just super politically active. I don't even know what.
Yeah.
She walks up and she goes, "My life is a train wreck. My life is a train wreck. My life is." She's doing like some weird performance
I know who
art.
you're talking about, too.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I
exactly
walk
what
up
you're
immediately
talking
after,
about.
and I was like, "That was a train wreck." That was, what the fuck was that? You know, it's like, it's like, what are you doing, dude? And you get guys that they're like, stand-up's my therapy. It's like, no, a therapist should be your therapy. You should get help. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but
Thing is, I feel like you can't really tell, especially when you're doing an open mic at a bar, when you know like half the people aren't paying attention anyways, and like half the people are paying attention might not even have been there for the stand-up. Like I can tell going to the Gold Margarita sometimes that people weren't even like, oh, there's stand-up comedy tonight, and then they're like, oh no, it's open mic. This is not comedy.
Yeah, and it's well, first of all, that's how you get to be a good comic.
Yeah.
You know, you have to
get the
do
reps
these trashy shows that suck, and you'll probably bomb, but if you get something with a couple laughs in it in an outdoor venue, which it's so much tougher too.
Like if you do an indoor spot, it's easy. But then you go out there and you hear like sirens going by, and that's what happened to me. Completely lost my set. Jumped into another joke halfway through it. I hit the punchline without the setup, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Killed me like 3 hours of time to get 5 minutes and ruined them. And I was like, man.
To be fair, I think that all 20 comics that went up there that night were not anything special.
It was rough, yeah. You get a couple guys out here that are solid. You know, guys like we mentioned, like Tristan Bowling, solid,
very
solid guy, very funny guy, and he'll open up for like I think Stand Up Live. He'll do like Tempe Improv, but that's 7 years, man. A lot of people don't realize that. Any guy that you see on TV, probably 10, 15 minimum, you know? If you see like the other guys, Bill Burr's been doing it 35 years. It's like
dude, he said that he
level.
didn't like hit it, like was confident in what he was doing until 4 years in.
4 years in, yeah.
That's when like the first person taps him on the shoulder. It's like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it.
Keep doing that, yeah. You just figure it out, man.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that's why like I like meeting guys like you or like some of the other guys out over here because they're like, not a good set, but I'm gonna keep going. You know, that's what you gotta do. You just.
I got off the stage that night like I'm probably gonna take a month off or something.
Yeah.
But then the next week, like didn't plan on doing it, but they're like, there's still a couple of slots. I'm like, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Put something together last minute. I was observing everybody else too. I thought that.
Yeah.
Like there are some good comics that go up there and just bash all the other comics. I'm like, I'm gonna pay attention this time.
Sure.
And then basically what I wanted, the first 5 people that went up, sex, drugs, politics. No laughs whatsoever. And it was a pretty big crowd, too. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm confident because then Eric Bernal, who puts on a tremendous industry comedy night at the Gold Margarita, for anybody that wants to go.
Props to you, Eric.
Love Eric Bernal. One of my favorite guests on the show. But I went up there. He's like, you're the first one up next. I'm like, thank God. Because like I know that I could do no wrong. Like I have nothing to lose because nobody's laughed once yet.
Yeah. The best I ever did there was when like everybody went up and just did their act. And just to spell it out for everybody, it's an outdoor spot. You have like club music in the back, cars whizzing by, and they just did their set and expected people to jump on. And so like the best I ever did is I just went up there and then just started ribbing everybody, you know, like just making jokes, again, like not even at their expense. It's just like one guy was dressed in all white. I was like, dude, you practice Santeria, you know, or whatever. It's just making silly stuff. And like that's how it goes, man.
And the thing is, most of that is really
feel.
funny too, but it just doesn't hit because people aren't in the mood to watch comedy. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
you have to go to a club.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, like.
But you got to get booked at a club.
Yeah, and then you got to get good enough at the crappy show so you can go to a good show, and then you can do really well. Like, dude, like a great room. That's so easy. That's so easy. You know, for the most part, like once you have like a 5, a solid 10, things like that. Because everybody's there, you have like energy, people are feeling it, you know?
Exactly.
But when you're outdoors, people are just hammered off of golden margaritas, you know?
Well, dude, last week you should have seen there were literally 2 people there, and they were both eating dinner with their backs turned.
Oh my God.
And the first 5 people that went up, I literally just stayed for the first 5.
Yeah.
And people were, I honestly thought they were really good.
Yeah.
People who have probably the first time I think I've ever seen them in there.
Yeah.
Telling really good, just like making fun of people left and right. I'm like, this stuff's good, but unfortunately,
it's not.
There's just cobwebs in the back. There's nobody here.
There's only so much you do. One upside is again, if anybody's wants to do like stand up, first of all you got to do is go to a mic and sign up for the most part. Phoenix has a good scene. Like I've been in like a couple states, couple different scenes. Over in Baltimore, there was like 2 good spots, and one was this area. And so this is what's nice. So yeah, it's a crappy mic, you know, whatever happens. Some days it's great, some days it's not. The place that I first started, I was pretty new into comedy at the time. I would get there 2 hours before the show started. So it started at 8 for the mic.
Yeah.
I'd get there at 6. I'd be the first or second guy on the list to go up. I'd get bumped 15 for the first 6 months. So I'd be there until 11:30, midnight, 12:30.
That's frustrating.
Nobody was there. And like it took 6 months to finally like earn the stripes of just bombing and spending 6 hours trying to go up there. And I was like, nah, this is just something I want to do. So I'll just run through it. If anything, it made me like more mad or like more geared to being like, okay, I'm going to be better next week then.
Yeah.
Because this all sucked. Like I had spent my entire night. I feel exhausted. I was working like sales and copiers, which is a nightmare job or whatever. And yeah, I mean, upside up over here, there's mics every night, you know. Once you start getting like a decent set, people ask you on the shows, things like that. So
yeah,
it's not bad, you know.
Like you said, surround yourself with people who actually want to pursue it, not just the psychos
Yep.
that go up there and just spill their guts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just lay out like their deepest, darkest fantasies. Like, hey, dude, you should keep that locked in. Like that's it.
Like that. Thanks for sharing. That
Yeah,
was not
man.
that was not funny
Screaming
in any
into
room.
a pillow. Don't not at me.
In any room, like even I don't know her name, but I went to a club the other night.
Yeah.
And someone was hosting, and she was just blatantly mixing in the fact that her father didn't pay enough attention to her when she was younger.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so overdone.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't gonna hit anywhere. It's just awkward silence after you're like, oh, daddy
Yep.
issues, great.
Yeah, well, it's not unique, dude. Like everybody, it's the key to comedy is you can either do one thing, you can do a surprise, you know, you take something that everybody's talking about, and then you take the opposite stance just to be like lawyer it, like
Exactly.
lawyer the wrong idea, but for the funny, you know, or whatever, or lawyer a thing that everybody thinks is funny but nobody can say. And so you just soup it up to where it's like it's almost indefensible. You know, that's like a guy like Burr. He can go in and talk about
Hitting
like
women.
yeah, like or a mother's not
Yeah.
like hitting women. Like, what if she's drowning the kids? You know, it's like, all right, I'm gonna hit her. You know, it's like clearly nobody's advocating for real for that.
He's like, I know how ignorant I sound right now, so I'll offer a peace offering. And he goes
Yeah.
in the back
Yeah.
end. But yeah, he comes up with some of the best stuff in my opinion.
mean,
At
he
least
is.
growing up on the
Yeah.
East Coast, like I feel like we could relate
Yeah.
to him a lot more
In Boston.
than some people.
A Boston guy, you know, those were rough guys too, and that scene back then. I mean, that is what's kind of nice about some of the Northeast, at least for the most part, is like it's so tough to make it with like comedy because there's so many guys that want to do it that it keeps you real honest. And a lot of times, unlike Arizona's kind of a West Coast feel, you know, it's got a little bit of that where people are like pretty supportive. Over there, they're like, you're shit, you know, and you feel like horrible up until the point though where if you murder at a show, it's undeniable. People cannot like you. They cannot whatever. You did a good show. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing. You either find out that your joke sucks in real time, just red faced, like, I am dying up here. Or you kill. If the people laugh, you know, and as long as they're being honest, that's
I mean,
what's so
early
truthful
on, I
about it.
feel like you just value the comic's approval above anybody else.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I think the goal is, because there are some easy shows, and you know,
Right.
you'll see a guy that, man, I used to know this guy over in Baltimore, just get like 2 laughs in 5-10 minutes, and he'd walk off there and be like, I just murdered that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you didn't. You know, no, you didn't.
you did, just not in the way you think you did.
Yeah, I wanted to shoot myself, if that's what you mean, because that was horrible. Because I've heard the same jokes for a year and they've never worked, you know. But yeah, and so that's where if you make like a good crew of like comic buddies or whatever, they're like, they keep you humble, you know. You're just ribbing each other. You're like, dude, you ate shit tonight, didn't you? And you're like, yeah, man, I did.
You might want to take a break after the night, man.
Yeah. It's a rough thing, man.
Who would you say has been your biggest supporter / mentor so far? Someone that's really kind of like helped you out a little bit.
Yeah, I
Used
don't
to
know.
start
I don't know
out.
if I'd say like mentor. I got a buddy named Anthony Papali. He's from up. He's actually done some really cool shows. He's in the Coast Guard, so he's moved around
Oh,
a lot.
wow.
Like he did comedy in Bahrain when he was stationed out there. He was up in Hawaii. He opened up for a guy named Ronnie Chang, who's like part of the Tonight Show, all that kind of stuff. We became best buddies, and so we'd go to all the mics together, stuff like that. He ended up moving to New York. I moved over shortly after. COVID hit, didn't work out, whatever. I'm not sad about it, but yeah,
Not
I mean,
bitter at all.
yeah, but like that's my buddy, you know. That's like the guy that I would go over there, and then we will say the most outlandish, wild shit to each other, and
Yeah.
it's just like that comic mindset of like who can say the wildest stuff, and you're fine with it, and then we'll tear each other down too. If we do bad in a show, you're like, dude, you suck ass, you're garbage, man, you know, and so yeah, that's the guy. I wouldn't say I have like any specific mentors. There's a guy named Jason Santiago out here, real good comic.
Yeah.
He's been awesome, kind of showing me this scene. Because it takes a while to break into a scene, you know.
does.
So probably it up over here. You know?
Santiago's really good.
I like Santiago.
He's
Yeah,
hosted a few times for Eric
yeah,
at
yeah.
his place.
He's good at just going up there and riffing, having a good time. You know. Yeah, I mean
Like,
his jokes
when
are good
when
too.
you get
of course,
that
but-
comfortable. you
Yeah,
know?
dude. A lot of it, it's just time. It's comedy's one of those things where like, yeah, I've actually seen a couple guys go up and do pretty good first sets. But then they start doing mics. They go up on a great show. Like I saw this guy first time ever doing comedy. He was at Stand Up Live recently. No, Tempe Improv. He did good. And I was like, here's the thing, man. You could do good with 120. Try doing it with 6. With 6 people there. A lot harder to get buy-in. Because some of his stuff was good. Again, great for a first time.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's not really fleshed out. So.
No. I just got booked at Tempe Improv April 14th.
That's awesome,
Believe it or
man.
not.
Nice.
For the experience.
Yeah.
That's my expectation going in. I'm like,
Dude,
you're going to give me 10 minutes?
I'll do it.
It's on you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Don't put it on me when things go south. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely, like, if anything else, I feel like comics have each other's backs, the good ones anyway.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing that I didn't like about the New York scene is like guys that you didn't know would tear you down. If it's your buddy or people that you know and they're like, damn, dude, you suck, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when they
To
like
be honest,
police
growing
each
up
other-
on the East Coast, I'm like, I'm used to that.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
are
yeah.
assholes.
100%. No, I don't. I'm not trying to say it's like, oh, they hurt my feelings, But it was like, again, they like wouldn't let you do certain jokes, so like you couldn't. Like, I couldn't even get up at, like, certain spots. Because, like, I'd show up to a mic or whatever. You get the cold shoulder. Like, it was so clicky. And I was like, what are we doing, guys? Again, like, we're clowns, man. I'd meet guys that were 5 months in. They're like, this is going to be my future. It's like, dude, you're not even good anywhere. Like, what do you mean? Like, maybe, and that's good, and I love the confidence. But you got to earn the stripes, Like, don't be a douchebag to a guy, just because you don't know him, whatever. But also, that's a part of it. It makes you tougher,
Like, 1, be supportive. 2, like, talk to me in 10 years when you're still doing it. Then I'll think, like,
Yes.
okay, you're committed to this.
Yeah. Those are always the weird guys. I've met a few guys that have been doing it for like 8 years, and I'm like, you should probably start a family. Like, you should probably like
Get a nice job in insurance,
Yeah, lovely fella, not good at comedy. Like you just didn't. I
Work
don't know.
on your credit score a little bit.
Yeah. You got a 360. Work, pay the bills, man. Do Uber on your spare
Yeah.
time. Don't be doing this,
Yeah.
But
Honestly, as a comedian, that's not a bad idea. To Uber and then spit your material out to
Up
who's ever in the
there?
back seat.
it's not a bad.
Work on it.
Yeah, that's been my biggest bummer is like I work remote now, like for
Yeah.
my like 9 to 5 job. I don't got material with it, So like now I'm trying to like go out a whole lot more, all that kind of stuff. But it's like, what are you gonna pick up from there?
Right.
There's not a lot of material. Like, what am I gonna do? Talk about how my cat jumps on my lap? Like that's lame. Like it's.
Do you
lame.
like working remotely though? Because like as a stand-up
tough
comedian,
sides.
it's tough because you're not interacting with people all the time, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you don't have to interact with anybody if you don't want to working from home, which is also
Exactly.
really nice.
Yeah, so there's pros and cons. I can sleep in a little bit later. That's nice. Although I was
Yeah.
working East Coast time for the first 6 months out here, so I was waking up at like 5.
Yeah.
So that made it tough because like I went through a year in New York. I did 4 mics. 2 of them were on a rooftop. They were nightmares with the L train going behind me every minute in the middle of the set. And then I did 2 park ones, nightmares. Again, just tough. It toughened me up and it made me throw out all my old stuff, which is
Yeah.
good. But yeah. So I mean, it was just tough. Like I had such like a long layover of not doing it, and then working remote. I'm in sales, so that part's like I'm constantly talking to people. But yeah, it's got its pros and its cons.
I could believe that.
I like being out there though. Like I've moved so much that luckily I've gotten used to like not knowing people in a certain scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets boring. It gets a little lonely at times,
Oh, I feel it, dude.
Yeah.
Next week I'm moving into an apartment. I live with 6 people. This last lease, I'm moving into a place all by myself. I'm
Yeah,
like, 6
that's
people
gonna
was
be
kind of
nice.
too much, so I'm gonna go in by myself. But they've all since moved out of this house into their new lease. So the final 2 weeks I've been alone, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of lonely around here. Like, can I
Yeah.
come over, guys?
I'll get you a
know?
body pillow for a housewarming gift.
Marsh pillow. You're How I Met Your Mother guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Maybe a couple fat heads on the wall of local stand-up
Yeah.
comics, so you can just see them all day. Yeah,
Like Jason Santiago says,
yeah.
just early morning motivators when you wake up.
That'll be good. Yeah. Or you can just jump on his TikTok. He's got 19 videos a day. So.
Oh, I see the reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to stay busy on social. Like me,
No,
I post
100%.
clips of this like all the time.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to stay relevant or else.
Which
it's
is
just gonna
good.
drop
It's good
off.
content, But that's the thing. That, like, I also know so many guys that are like, Gary Vee said,
I gotta have 40 clips per week, and it's like your clips suck, dude. Like,
well, that's because they're each getting 58 views per clip.
Yeah, 2 likes, and one of them's their mom. It's just like, dude, I'm gonna unfollow. You have good stuff though. I mean, that's what's funny. When I was coming on here, I was like, man, he went from having Colby Smulders, Brian Callen, the manager for the Dodgers, and me. I'm like, Jack, so 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Well, to be fully transparent, this is episode 501. You're following Magic Johnson as the 500th guest.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, you are.
I feel like I deserve the 500th. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, that's incredible, man.
I wanted to get like a bunch of comedians for 500.
That would have been fun.
I was gonna reach out to one of my buddies, Michael Turner.
Yeah, Mike is great, man.
He's unbelievable.
He's phenomenal.
Amazing guy, too.
Yeah, just the nicest. I met him one time. I knew like one of his buddies from New York.
Yeah.
And he's like, reach out to Michael. I mentioned him. This guy named Norlex. Great comic also. He was like, hey, reach out to Michael. I was like, hey, man, I know Norlex. He's like, you know Norlex? What's up, dude? You should get on our show sometime. I was like, thanks. Like,
that's all it takes, too.
And a killer at comedy. Really funny. Like,
He really is. He invited us. He came on the show, and he was opening up for, it was him, Chappelle Lacey, Blaustein, and Trevor Wallace.
Yeah.
And he invited us into the green room. We were just hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, dude, anytime you want to guest. Like, he'll, every now and then, like last week, he's just like, dude, I got a buddy, JC Carias, coming into town. Have him on your show.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And the guy killed it. It was hilarious, too.
That's the best thing. And that's what drives me nuts when I meet, like, some stand-up comics, and they're like, they have, like, ego. And then you see a guy like Michael. I think Michael's going to pop off in the next year to two. 100%. His show this past week sucks. I think it's that. I think it might be that.
Right, his improv show. That
really funny. Yeah, it's like it's just like a straight show where they have like comics up there, kind of similar to Kill Tony, but they actually give him a full set, but they'll roast him in the middle of it. Genius, good. I mean, dude, he went to it might have been the Waste Management tour.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers,
He's
Adam
talking to Aaron Rodgers about his mustache.
Larry Fitzgerald ass bit.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. I mean, that guy's gonna be big. So.
And I mean, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I've known him 3 months now. He came on the show a few months back, but like he's literally supports everybody.
Dude.
Just reach out to him. He's like, oh, dude, no ego.
Yeah.
Like those are
That's
the
what I
people.
love,
like
man.
how many comedians have you seen that have like good comedians?
Good,
not the
that's
ones
what I'm
that
saying.
like come in and are just like puffing their chest and then they just murder in a bad way.
Yeah. It's so weird. I find that in like almost every industry too. Like whether it be business, normally when you meet guys up at the top, you'll meet some assholes. But most of the time, they feel kind of fortunate that they're up there. They've worked their ass off to get there.
Yeah.
Like I used to do, before I did any like speaking roles, I do extra work. When I was living in Auburn, and I'd drive to Atlanta and do that.
Yeah.
Dude, some of the most insane people ever that I met, they're like, yeah, man, I'm booked for this show as an extra. I'm booked for this show. Their whole scene was them walking in the background like that. And they're insane. And then you meet some of the actors.
There I am.
Yeah. Dude, you wouldn't believe it, dude. I'm on Swamp Monsters. It's sick, you know?
Here's my scene.
Yeah, and they're like ego, whatever. And then you'd meet, I met like Ian Somerhalder from like Vampire Diaries or whatever. He's a nice guy. I don't know how he is in real life, but he was like nice up front. And then you meet this extra guy that's like, I'm fucking crushing, bro. Like, it's like, dude, you made $62 for 12 hours today. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. And so same thing. That's why I love a guy that gets good. It's just nice, man. They're like, hey, man, I got fortunate. I busted my ass. Come with, So
honestly, growing up on these shows, I saw that a lot with like baseball players growing up. Like there's guys like our age, like maybe 25, 26 now, that are still holding on to that dream. Like playing college ball as like a redshirt sophomore as a 25-year-old kid. And I'm just like, it's over, man.
It's over, man. You kind of missed it.
You had potential. But you blew it.
Yeah. It's like, look, man, there's only one Rudy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's only one guy that can work
on the equipment
one movie,
team. You know?
Yeah. And what did he get? Like 5 snaps? It was like, and it's amazing. It's a fun movie. Shout out to Sean Austin. But aside from that, I don't know. That is one thing, dude. Everybody wants to be like a movie star, and it's like, just get ready. You're going to take some licks, man. Yeah. And you get a real big chance.
Get the experience.
Do it. Yeah, I think
honestly,
it's phenomenal.
It's fun.
That's what's, like, it's so funny to me being out of the spot like here where there's, like, a huge, like, club bar scene. Yeah. And I see, like, so many guys dressed like TikTok guys or whatever. They got, like, the Jesus Piece or whatever. And the cocky dudes that are, like, 22, have never worked in their life or anything like that. And I'm like, dude, go up and do stand up. Do 5 minutes, man. I want to see that ego. What happens to it? Oh, yeah. Because they just bomb. Like that's the thing when I meet guys like that. I'm like, man, I wish you just tried once.
They can't take the humiliation.
You took the peg, dude. Yeah, you could peg down to size, you know.
They're just like their Instagram profiles. I did this,
100%.
that, and then like one bad stand-up brings them all the way back
brings them
down,
straight
right?
back, dude. You're like, we all suck,
See,
don't we?
I feel like though, if you fail so many times, you just become numb to it. Like, who cares if you go up there and bomb?
So there's pros and cons. It's like, again, that's why I think if you go up there with no ego and the right intentions, you bomb, you self-assess, and then you try to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then there's people that do have it. They're not. They have like no real self-conscious of being like, I'm up here for me. Like, I'm doing this so I can be big or I can do whatever, which is always going to be a motivation. Who doesn't want to get good enough to where they can be big? But those are the guys that don't go anywhere, you know? Because, like, they finish a show. Like, again, I know this buddy, a good comic, he'll do okay, and he's like, I just murdered that. And it's like, how are you going to get better, dude?
Yeah.
If you can't see that you sucked, like, right there, like, how do you get better, you know?
Do you ever look back at some of your stuff that you tape? Like, all the time, I bet?
Yeah. I mean, it's painful. It's painful too. Like, I mean, I've had some good shows. I've done a few where I did like really well, but for me, I threw out all the stuff that I worked on my first full year of stand up. I was just like, it kind of worked. It was all kitschy, kind of hackish. It was lame. What you'll start seeing, like, the more you work with like guys that are newer in like stand up, the more they talk about themselves or they rib themselves because they know they can get away with the jokes, and that's fine. It's kind of a part of the process of just getting comfortable. But normally when you see a guy like a Michael Turner or something like that, he'll make jokes about himself or his life, but he'll also make observations, things outwards, because you get a little bit of confidence or you get numb enough to it to where you're like, okay, I can bomb on this because I believe in this idea and I know I can make make it work, you know? And so
he's got a lot of terrorism jokes too.
Yeah,
They're
real
really
topical
good
these days too, Michael. No, I'm just kidding. Real 9/11 centric. No, I'm just kidding.
He makes
I don't even
them
know, but no, it's good. I mean, yeah,
Great.
Yeah.
I think I actually have the one that actually worked the other night in the TriCaster. I'll play it for a second. I don't even think you could hear it.
Do it.
but
Yeah, I want to see
just
it.
give me feedback on my body language.
Go for it. Let's do it.
All right, keep talking.
And I'm no pro. All right, this is brought to you by Blue Chew. I'm just kidding. Jack just left me up over here. I'm not supposed to look at the camera, but I really want to look at the camera. How do you even pop it up from the TriCaster, Jack? I don't know why I'm asking him right now. It's a weird thing doing a podcast. This is my first time. Do we get it up?
Is it up there? There you go.
Okay, there we
You
go.
will not be able to hear it. You could hear it in the video.
Yeah.
But we can't hear it.
Sure.
But this was, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. See, this is what I was saying to you. So I met you on your third time, I think, doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And what I was envious of was your body language. Like, even when something didn't hit, you smiled and you kept going. Which, there's pros and cons to that. Sometimes it's good to address when you bomb.
Yeah.
And just play with whatever. But, like, I've been on this weird regressive thing of where I'm, like, clamming up a little bit right now, you know? I need to start walking more, honestly, just to burn calories on stage.
I mean, the thing with me is that for the last 6 years, I've been podcasting.
Yeah.
I've been forced to talk.
Yeah.
The art of conversation. I'm
Sure.
a play-by-play broadcaster for sports.
Yeah.
Like, I'm forced to talk, and I've gotten a ton of bad feedback in the process. Just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? That sucked. Like, anybody could do this. It's like,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
It's a lot more difficult
It's a
than
lot
people make
more.
it out to be.
That's you left me up over there, and I just talked nonsense for about 30 seconds.
Oh, I
until
heard
went
you
up.
in there.
Yeah, that's good.
You did a
That's
good job, though.
I tried. I was
I
just
don't think
seeing-
I've ever
I was-
gotten up from a guest before. I'm like, oh, you better keep talking.
I was addressing the bomb. that's literally what we were just talking about. I was like, I got nothing, man. Nothing in this empty little brain socket. But yeah, I mean, that was one thing I was envious. My first 10 times, my leg vibrated on stage,
Yeah.
just trying to get used to it. Because, like, I hadn't done anything, I mean, aside from A Midsummer's Night Dream in 6th grade. I hadn't been up on stage in a decade. And then I went back on, and it was brutal. And kudos to you. Like, the first time I went up twice when I was in college at Auburn.
Yeah.
Ate it. I had the stupidest jokes. Nothing. I lasted like 2 minutes. You know, and like there's nobody really there, so it's just like a couple guys. There's no scene in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
I gotta
then
make sure I get up there when this ends.
Yeah.
Now that I
yeah.
can't hear it.
Does it play through? Does the audio actually play through here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is like
We're talking
play-by-play.
over me right now, but it's cool. Everybody knows how funny it is.
Yeah. They really boned you on the lighting right there. Like there's zero
Well,
lights on you.
there is no light.
Yeah, there is no light.
The video's pretty good though.
Yeah.
My buddy Zach brought his camera.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
You look good in purple light. That's good. Good complexion, you know?
Yeah. Wearing my puppy dog T-shirt.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm most confident about up there, like even if I am bombing, which is like 95% of the time.
Yeah,
But like
same.
going up there, just walking around.
Yeah.
That one time you saw me, like I like couldn't get the mic off of the thing, so I'm like, I guess
Isn't
I'm
it
just
the worst
holding
when
it.
you start? Yeah.
I'm just holding it.
Yeah. I've tripped going up stage. It's great. Just eat shit and then walk up there like, hey, everybody. Like, it's not a great setup.
Like
you know?
I think tomorrow I want to bring a stool up there, just sit down.
Do it. So I did a thing for the longest time. Like I didn't know how to feel comfortable standing still. And I think
Yeah.
I got too comfortable doing it now. Like, so I need to be
There
like
are guys who
more
like
animated.
casually like put their hands in their pocket and it looks good, but then you look back at the tape later and you're just like, oh, I'm frozen.
I'm
I look
frozen.
paralyzed.
That's a little bit like I kind of just grab the mic stand and kind of lean with it, like almost like a phenomenal comic, Sam Morril. He's amazing at just standing there, but his jokes are so good that
Yeah.
he can do it. And I'm like, I want to start like experimenting with more, like energetic things, because when you do a mic like this, you got to be energetic. You have to be able to engage or whatever.
Because if you're just up there like, hey guys, how's it going tonight?
yeah. How about them airplane? It's like you're gonna die.
Shit.
You're gonna die up there.
I brought my buddy to this one, who's
Yeah.
like ultra Christian,
Yeah.
you know? And he went in, he's like, I thought this was going to be a stand-up show. I'm like, it's open mic, man.
Yeah.
It's totally not the
Yeah.
same thing.
There you go.
Eric's just like, truth teller.
Yeah.
Because I
Did
literally
he
just
did
called
he-
out everybody else.
Oh, did it? Yeah. Oh, it's an interesting one. I think the best I ever did was actually kind of ribbon. Oh, there we go. Look at the technology setup we got
No.
here.
I did that all by myself.
Yeah, telepathy. That's beautiful, man. But yeah, I think the first time I ever went up there, it was like I just started off like the best I did on the show was ribbing Eric's poster
Yeah.
because it was him. It was a poster at this show at the Golden Margarita.
Yeah.
But his picture was in front of another comedy place. I was like,
Really?
he really gives a shit about this show, huh? guy?
Yeah, really
Like,
interesting.
Yeah, it's not even his fault. He doesn't make the posters, but
I remember
Yeah.
the first time being there, I'm like, Eric, can I like talk about anything? Is there? And he just laughed in my face.
Yeah.
He's like, did you hear that? Like he turned to his buddy Matt.
Yeah.
He's like, did you hear that? He's like, he asked if there's anything that he can't talk about.
Yeah. No, I mean that's literally me. Like jumping on here, I was like, "Are there any rules?" You're like, "Fuck no." No. This is. I mean, that's the best setup. You just have good
I
conversations.
love it when
with
people
them.
ask me like mid-show, like, can I use a curse word? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And like my audio producer will be over here and I'm like, hey.
Yeah. Does he love it or is he like?
Because it's a woman too, so it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like the C word, C-U-N-T, that's the one you can't use.
That's the one you can't do up here.
I feel like there's a lot
You
of...
can't Joe Rogan it.
There's
either. We
even
just
a
learned
lot
that.
of there's a lot of girls out there that I know that I'm friends with that can be very raunchy and
Yeah.
they don't even like that word.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. See that? I mean, I think that's where like me and my parents were butting heads because like super Christian, all that kind of stuff, and
It's
just
funny
like,
how you didn't fall in line into that growing
I mean,
up.
I'm Christian, but like I just don't think I feel like something got messed up in translation where it's like, oh,
There's
these words
the
we can't
cultish.
use.
There's the cultish Christians, and then there's people.
yeah.
Like, honestly, like there's some Christians here because Christianity is so profound and relevant
Yeah.
in this state and
Oh,
in California out west in general. Where like back east, I didn't like Roman Catholicism reigned supreme.
Yeah.
And nobody really got into it that much. Like we were a
Exactly.
part of it, but we didn't really learn that
you
much
go to
about
mass
Christ.
on Easter, you know,
Exactly.
and then
Easter
the
and
rest
Christmas
of the days,
Eve.
you be
That's it.
sinning.
That's
So,
basically it. Like I don't think
Yeah.
my dad stepped foot in a church since like I was like 13 years old when we
Yeah.
went like Christmas Eve. But there's so many people out here that probably wouldn't even consider you a Christian because you do stand up and you curse
Yeah.
and you use swear words, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's not a firm believer of Jesus.
Yeah, which I mean, the counter to that's like, why stare at a guy with a splinter in his eye when you got a log in your own?
Yeah.
And I'm not even using that to justify the way that I think
Right.
about the world. I got very conflicting views, but so does everybody else. That guy casting the stone, it's like, hey, dude, you live in a glass house, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna, the whole, I don't know. It's just funny. That's why that's what I do love about the Northeast. I love like a gritty people, and you get like a lot of Irish, a lot of like Italian, and they're just like, hey, who gives a fuck? And I'm like,
Exactly.
I love that mentality. That's my favorite mentality. It's like life sucks a lot of the time, so who gives a fuck? We're gonna just make a joke. We're gonna do whatever. And those are the best people, man. Those are the people you want to go and like hang out with after work.
I mean, if you weren't raised in that environment, I guess you
I can
didn't
get it.
experience it.
Yeah.
But like for us, Like that's all. Like that was my first
That's the
bit.
thing.
My uncle in Boston lost his remote. He's like, Jackie, where's the clicker, you fucking cocksucker?
Yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
I was 3 years old when he
Yeah.
said that to me.
But hey, that's the bet you said that was your uncle or grandpa?
Yeah.
Dude, those are the best ones though. They're fun
Yep.
because you remember them. They have like a good time. They rib you. They're like good to go. And that's what's funny. Like when my parents get mad at me, I'm like, what do you want me to do, dude? I went to school in the projects. I worked landscaping in the summers.
Yep.
I've moved like 7 times in 8 years. Like you see the world. Like it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. You can have differing ones, but in my opinion, I'm like, I'm not going out there and just like assaulting people like
Yeah.
verbally. I don't do that at all. But if I throw out a couple F-bombs, the
Was-
world keeps
was-
spinning, baby.
Was that a problem with your parents growing up?
I mean, I
or-
wouldn't do it at home, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna like throw it at them. by
But
any
like
means.
like when they first saw your comedy, they're like, let's talk about this comedy. Like,
Yeah.
But now they're supportive.
No, I mean,
I'm
again,
hoping.
they literally found out like 1 month ago.
Yeah.
Like, or they saw my first joke because I was like, honestly, it was almost nice. Like when they saw it, and because so what happened is I was like telling my dad I was excited. It was like one of my first 10-minute sets.
Yeah.
Like I can do a solid 5. It's not too hard. 5's whatever. And I was like, yeah, I did 10 minutes. It was great. And I was like so stoked. And he was like, yeah, about that. Your mom saw it. And he's like, she said you used vile language. I was like, who says vile anymore?
What'd you say? Like, shit.
I was like, great. I was so excited a second ago. and he was like, and you posted it online. You did like all this kind of stuff. And we're just really
Everyone
worried.
can see that, Adam.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's the internet. That's like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Never post anything? And I'm not going to, what do you want me to do? Jokes about the 12 disciples? Like that's not
What
gonna
was
work
that, Jim
anymore.
Gaffigan? Like, why do you guys need all these followers? Jesus had 12 followers, and he did just fine.
You did just fine. Yeah. I did a joke that I knew they would never love. I actually never tried it, but it was like, because like biblical jokes, they've all been done or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking of it, and it was when it was like a big like Me Too and like I think it might have been around. No, it was later. But the whole premise was like, I don't understand why so many Christians get mad at people that are gay. It's like Jesus Christ hung out with 12 dudes all day. And like prostitutes, he kind of sounds like Jeffree Star, or whatever. But whatever, man. You just keep doing stuff. You can't chase your parents' approval your whole life. Like I got a buddy who's
Never.
30, and he was like telling me about like how his dad did whatever. And I get it, man. It's traumatic. But what are you gonna do? Live the rest of your life trying to prove this one guy who maybe has the wrong opinion
No.
on a certain thing? Like you just live. You roll the dice. You become
Nope.
your own man.
I am not out here to prove anything to anybody but myself that I
Exactly.
can succeed in this world.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good mentality. And that's why you have a show.
Like you
that's
can,
what I'm telling you.
you
Like,
can
that's a good
value
way
the
to go.
opinions of your parents. Like,
Yeah.
and I definitely do. Like,
I take it into consideration, 100%.
I take it into
Yeah.
consideration, right?
Yeah.
Love and respect everything that they've done for me and what they continue to do for me.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't really need your approval at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
They've always supported everything that I've done.
Exactly.
They've never really denied it, but like I'm never going to get to a point where like if you say something that's like you're dishonoring the family by doing this. It's like I don't think I am.
It's like, first of all, hey man, our family doesn't have that much honor. Like they're very respected people, but it's
Yeah.
like we're not.
Like when you talk about
we're
legacy,
not
it's
the
like
Rockefellers.
like nobody knows who we are.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Like what legacy?
Yeah.
Like our own internal legacy, maybe, but like that's not.
Yeah.
I want a little something more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a little bit with my dad because here's what's crazy. My dad's been a missionary for like 25 years.
Yeah.
He has like 5 times more followers online than I do,
Yeah.
just because he's been around so much. He's like such a well-respected person, and I'm like, all right, don't at me on posts. I know like that's the best I can do, but I got to do my thing. You're good from a pulpit. I can take a mic and do stand-up. Like it's a different thing, but if you do good at it, it's relevant.
Yeah, same shit. You both get
Yeah.
up there, talk in front of people,
Yeah.
like father, like son.
Yeah. He might not like that in comparison, but yes. So,
God, I can't believe it's only been a month since they figured out that you've been doing this.
Well, they know I've been doing it, but they just saw the actual
Just saw
stuff.
it.
I just never.
They
showed
thought
them
you were
the
like
clips.
Gaffigan, like clean.
They wanted me to be
perfect.
Gaffigan, and here's the thing: Gaffigan's great. Gaffigan's
It
not
works
me.
for him though, like his whole image, his
Yeah.
body language,
It's great, man.
his timing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a genius, and the guy knows how to. Here's the thing, dude. If I go up on stage, start talking about holidays and food, people are gonna be like, "Why does this guy that looks like a douchebag talking about Hot Pockets for
Yeah.
45 minutes?" Like, it wouldn't work, But I mean, unless I just had the best pizza joke, but I don't.
Oh
so.
my god.
What do you do?
He's honestly like the only clean comedian out there that I can listen to. The only clean
Yeah.
comedian I really know that's hit it.
Yeah,
Like, I can't think of any.
Maybe Dimitri Martin. He's not purely
Yeah.
clean, but I mean, he's the closest you can get to all comedy and be good. You know, like there's not that many people. Because I mean, here's the thing: what's interesting to talk about? Things that you can't really talk about that much.
Yeah.
And if you can figure a way to like finagle your way through the line,
Yeah.
it's great. It's beautiful. You know,
Man.
but you know that one of the best jokes I have right now. It's about like how asexuals are part of like LGBTQ, and it's not even making fun of if you're asexual, that's awesome, dude. Be whoever you want. I'm a firm believer. Be whatever you want. But it's like, how did they jump into that crew? Like LGBT people are people like the most discriminated in all of history for who they have sex with. Asexuals don't have sex. Like they're like, yo, we don't like to fuck, but we like to party. You know, it's like it doesn't. It's whatever. But some people pull back just because they use the term LGBTQ, and it's like, hold up, give it a second. I'm not going out here just blasting people, but you dance the line. You know, you just find like a funny way to go through it. So
I feel like Dave Chappelle in The Closer, if you ever seen that,
Yeah.
just like cut through the line when it came to all that shit.
well, that guy, I mean, he has 30 years of
Yeah.
you know, reputation. Like it is a lot easier. Like sometimes you see guys, once you build up a name, and it's because they went through the trenches forever.
Yeah.
They get the buy-in to go in and make a joke about something. You know, to some degree, it helps a little bit. But they also did all the mics, ate it forever, and then figured out how to talk about risky stuff and then do it properly.
Yeah.
You know, but
How long do you think this is going to be in your future? Like, do you think this is just a phase as a comedian, Adam? Do you think...
You talking about what, doing comedy?
Yeah. It's just a phase, right? You're gonna get into the church. You're gonna...
Yeah. I'm gonna be a choir boy next week.
You're a little corrupt right now, but
Yeah.
you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I want to be a deacon one day. No. Yeah, I've thought about that. Man, I've given up a lot of my life. It's weird. Like, I've given up a lot of my life to do this. Like certain relationships kind of haven't worked out to some degree because I'm, going to mics or like I put off getting different jobs just so I can do whatever. I don't want to quit. I don't have a feeling like I want to quit. I think I'm finally writing stuff that I think is kind of unique to me in the way that I think.
so I'm gonna give it a few more years. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it at least 3 more. I've really been doing it for 2 years, so really a baby in comedy. Still.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna give it 3 more years. It's more than half of what you've already
I'll
experienced.
give it 3 till I'm 30, and then if I'm getting like legit booked on shows and I can see like a pathway to do it, I'll keep doing it. You know, and then I'll probably always do it for fun. But on the back end, at some point I gotta have kids. I want to raise a family, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
You gotta make her laugh. That's gonna be a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Honestly, like, I have this, which is my baby. This is what I do. I just got added on by ESPN doing freelance play-by-play
I
commentary.
saw that, by the way.
Which is
Softball,
fun.
beautiful.
God, I love softball, man.
It's great, man. Yeah. You look like it.
But yeah, so like stand-up comedy, I want to get into it. Like, I feel like I had couch humor growing up. I have a ton of weird stories, and embarrassing stories that I feel like I could use as material if I time it right and everything. I really got to go over it and write it out.
Definitely.
But honestly, if anything else, use it to network with other comics, because I've always loved stand-up comedy, to get in with comics and be able to meet certain people that I didn't think I'd be able to meet, to do it that way and hopefully get a few laughs along the way.
You're already backstage of Tempe Improv. That's sick. That's cool.
Like, like, you want me to go up? Like, I applied for it, and they're just like, yeah, it's yours if you want it. I'm like,
you got it.
Your funeral, buddy.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like, end of the day, like, I have nothing to lose when it comes to stand-up comedy. Like, I've done so many weird things. Like, I've done films too where I've had to do weird things to the point where, like, I'm all numbed out when it comes to an embarrassment. Like, the night you saw me was probably the worst I've done out of like 5 or 6 sets at this point. And I'm still like, I got off the stage and I'm just like, it's over with. But like, that sucked.
Yeah, it happens, man. But I mean, I think that's what differentiates. It's like, look, man, I can go up there. If you don't go up there with too much ego and you go there with a thick skin, it's like sometimes I'm going to hit, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
When I get good enough, I'll be good to go, And again, I think you have a good knack of it. Maybe it's through doing stuff like this, whatever.
I have good communication skills. I
do.
can talk to an audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is good. I mean, that's one of the biggest things, man. Again, some guys will go up and just do their bits. It's like, hey, man, talk to the people, actually communicate with them.
Like you can tell when you're like robotic and like, oh, he practiced this over like 200 times before he came up here.
The guy that tells the jokes to the mirror, you know, like that's it's like those guys are psychopaths, dude. It's
God.
It's good to be prepped, but it's not going to play out the way that you think in your head. Generally, more often than not.
Like some people, especially starting out, are probably thinking like, I just got to hit all the lines that I remembered in my head. Like you're more focused on memorizing the lines than you are actually connecting with the audience.
Yeah.
Which is the most important thing, even though it's very difficult to do at bars.
Sure. That's what you see with the theater kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've seen like theater kids. That's Brian Callen's probably one of the only guys that's like a theater like actor guy that's good at stand up. Because everybody else goes up there and they're like all over the place. You know, they're talking with their hand. And it's like, you got to keep it, like dial it in, dog. Like dial it in.
There was one chick at open mic that literally was like looking at her notes and then she like lost her train of thought and lost where she was. So she was flipping through pages for at least 30 seconds straight.
Dude, it's not good. Yeah. Yep.
What are you doing?
You got to be better prepped than that. I mean, and look, everybody can lose it up there. Again, that's what's so tough. That's like one thing, dude, it's got to be so awesome. I wish I was musically talented.
Oh, my God. Dude, like Jamie Foxx goes up there, starts ripping the piano.
Even like a local bar player. Because like whether people are listening to or not, it's just helping the vibe of the room. But you're not expecting a laugh every 4 seconds. And if you're not, then, you know, you're not bombing. Like if you miss a chord, you just fix it, keep playing. You know, it's not that bad. But with this, all eyes on you, baby.
The spotlight is on you.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing worse than a bomb. There's nothing better than like doing good. You know, that's the thing. It's like a nice feel and all that kind of stuff.
The thing is that where you're at in your career and like where I'm at doing a couple of open mics, it's like almost everybody you see isn't really like killing. So like at least you know like going up, like I'm not gonna be the worst one here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That part does. It's a nice little crutch, especially as you're starting up. For me, it's like no matter how good or bad, I'm like, I got to do better, you know? Like whether I do a good show or not, I'm like, if I want to do this.
Just outperform yourself every time you go
I got
up
3
there.
more years to make it work, baby.
That's the plan, the 3-year plan.
I've killed so many relationships in my life.
What do you mean, like friendships or like
No, not like that.
Girlfriends?
I just mean, there's been times when like I've been in like a relationship and it's like, we didn't have like a really great connection. Like I don't really date anymore at this point. It's like, you know, if I meet somebody, I'll give it a shot, you know, and if we're hitting it off. But aside from that, it's like, again, I don't have that much time, dude. I know like, I don't know. Maybe it's just this like little clock that I put on myself to put pressure. Yeah. But if I'm not going out to multiple mics a week, I'm like, what am I doing then? Like, I've spent thousands of hours trying to do this now. You know, and you spend 3-4 hours, you get 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so you better be really trying if you're going to do it. Or if you're doing it for fun, that's awesome too. That's totally fine. But dude, I don't want to be sending emails for the rest of my life, you know? Like, I want to do something fun. And the comedy's fun, man. You get to travel the U.S. I like traveling a bunch. And that'd be a great setup. There's nothing better than making a person laugh, you know? Like, because it's honest, dude. I think that's why people get mad at comedy too. You know, like when somebody will say something in like a non-PC realm.
Yeah.
And it's like why? Because you might not like it, but that whole crowd laughed, and it's so hard if somebody says something just undeniably funny not to laugh, you know? And it says it's because they're doing something truthful to a small degree at least.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's why people get mad at comics, you know? That's why people want to take out Joe Rogan's, you know? Rogies, they're after him. It's like, first of all, you're not going to beat him. The guy's too big. He's too big to fail pretty much at this point. But you know.
Frickin' what's his face? Neil Young tried to get him. Neil fucking Young.
Neil Young, who gives a fuck about your career?
Neil Young couldn't bury Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
the guy's like 75. He's like, I'm gonna take all my content off of Spotify. Go listen to it on Apple, bitch.
Here, he's got some good songs. I've never searched for Neil Young.
No.
In my entire life. And I'm sure there are people that have. I'm not, you know, the guys
there were a couple of other artists that I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. Just like irrelevant, like B artists that are like, I'm going to join the movement.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, half the people do it for clicks. They're like, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. It's like, your business doesn't do shit for us. You're garbage, you know?
Spotify like didn't even blink.
Yeah. Okay. They're like, okay, good. We're not going to pay you. We don't give a shit, you know? How many subscribers does Spotify get from Neil Young? Like, they're like, I got to get his stuff. Just go to Apple Music, dude. But you can only get Rogan at Spotify. So it's a dumb business move, you know? And he's going to, like, I mean, who cares at this point? But I think he did it, for the most part, I think he did it too from, like, vax misinformation.
Yeah.
2 years after the pandemic, it's like, dude, nobody even cares that much anymore. Like, if you do, that's fine, that's cool, live your own life, 100%. who gives a shit at this point? Like, you shouldn't say that. Like, what? You say that the vax isn't as strong as they thought? 98% of people think that now. Can we be honest? It didn't work the way it was supposed to.
Nope.
Definitely didn't. Now, I'm not saying don't get it by any means. If you need to get it, whatever. But it's not controversial now, you know? It's not at all, dude.
No, you're 100% right. Like 98, 99% of people out there all think the same. But for whatever reason,
You can't
you
say-
don't see it on TV.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so glad, like, COVID's pretty much done now. The only thing I really wanted is, like, you know how sometimes when people get, like, diseases, they name the disease after the person? My dream was for them to name COVID after, like, Tom Hanks was the biggest guy that got it.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be so funny if they named it Tom Hanks disease. Just because you imagine all the conversation, or like CNN's
TH,
death clicker.
yeah.
It's like 2 million people have died this month from Tom Hanks disease. Dude, that would have been my favorite thing ever. Of like, dude, grandma died. What happened?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks disease, dude. Fucking Tom Hanks disease. That was what I was hoping.
It would take too much away from Lou Gehrig's disease, though.
That's exactly what I was like. Also, though,
I don't know.
do you want your legacy to be the name of a disease? You know, like Lou Gehrig for the rest. I didn't know who Lou Gehrig was forever. Up until, like, I was like, I know Lou Gehrig's disease. I was like, who is this guy? And then I found out, and I was like, oh, that's shitty, man. But that'd be like naming Parkinson's Matthew Fox disease, you know, or whatever. It's like, be horrible.
MJF disease.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Or Ozzy disease.
Ozzy?
I think he's got it too.
Ozzy
Ozzy
Osbourne?
Osbourne. Yeah.
Yeah. That's rough, man. Make some dope paintings with it. But aside from that, you know, at least these days. That's one of those things, man. Do you like I guess go to museums for like art much, anything like that? Dude, I like my whole life I thought going to the MoMA would be like the biggest thing, like Museum of Modern Art. I mean, I just thought because it's the MoMA, like everybody knows they've heard of it, whatever. I remember I went there for like a trip in middle school. They had an entire wall with a canvas, with canvases. Each canvas was just a different color. I was like, they literally took the thing in like Microsoft Paint where you click the box. They just put it up on the wall pretty much, and they're like,
God,
millions of dollars, bitch.
Dude,
you know, I was
dude,
like, you guys are out of your mind, man. It's
smart.
I mean, whoever did it, dude. Hey, for the money.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, I'll be a prostitute for money. Like I've got bills to pay, but I
think Tommy Chong just made like $30 million off of his NFT alone.
Did he really?
Like, what are you gonna do with that money, man?
Dude. Hookers and blow, dude. Like that's. I mean, what are you gonna do? No, I mean,
the guy's 85.
What do? Yeah, that's one thing, dude. I mean, I don't get it, man. Do you see the Nelk kids they've made? Do you know how much money the Nelk kids have made off of these TikTok kids? Everybody shits on them. They're marketing geniuses, man. I mean, they're making a ton of money.
Do you make TikToks?
No, I've never done TikToks.
Really?
I've thought about doing like some.
You got to
stand-up
put
sets,
some
but
more reels out, like Jason.
Yeah, I need to. I just don't want to do it unless it's good.
Absolutely.
Because I think there's so much content. I think right now that's the goal. Like right now, of just when I'm ready to burn a joke, or if I do something good topical at a good spot where people can actually hear the audio, I'll put it up. You know, if I film it. But I do need to do that more. I've been lazy fuck. You know.
I mean, my buddy made me a reel for my one that I did that we showed, and I'm like about to post, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Hold back. I've done a few open mics.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going.
That's the next step. For me, it's like I want the first 6, 7, 8 to be like good jokes that I know are good, and then I'll stand by. You know, and then after that, so like I have like 2. One was a topical joke. It did okay. The other one was like one of my better jokes that's worked pretty well. But I'm like, because right now I don't have followers from stand-up, you know? Hey, but follow me. Everybody in the show. Not Adam Black. But no, keep going.
Adam Black.
Keep going. You get MILFs, moms, single people, guys, girls, follow it. So, but yeah. I got 2 reels. That's it, you know? But like I do, because once I start meeting people that like actually do it, I want to be able to like follow them and like, oh, okay, he's got some funny stuff. Like maybe I only saw 5 minutes, but I know he's got jokes to get booked up. It's such a hustle, man, doing like stand-up comedy. Like it's
5 minutes is honestly more than enough if you have a decent set.
Yeah.
I'd love more time. Like in 10 minutes, I think I could get way more done in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Like I can actually talk to these people, tell a story.
100%. Yeah. The confines of time is like a weird thing. Like kind of like, have you ever had a girlfriend that they like you love them to death, but it's like, dude, that's my problem. I've been doing stand-up and I care too much about stand-up to where I'm like, hey, cut the fat from the story, dude.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here. You just told me
cut the fluff.
15 minutes about your trip to the mall. I'm going to die, dude. I'm going to die.
Long story short.
Yes.
Like, no.
Yeah. I think sales. I think I started stand up really around the time I did sales too, and they helped together. Because copier sales is a nightmare. It's just knocking on doors and they're like, "Get the fuck out of our business!"
You're right.
I'm sorry, you know, when you dip out.
Like you just knock on the door. I know this isn't going anywhere. I'm sorry I even knocked.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, dude, especially when you're like a rookie, like I'd go into like a Hertz auto place, be like, "Can I sell a copier here?" And they're like, "We're a $1 billion company. This is just a branch. Get out of here," you know. But it helped with comedy because I don't know, like that part of me that cared about what people thought died. Like that part's gone for the most part. It's tough to feel embarrassed at this point. It's weird.
What would you say to end this, to
Okay.
bring this full circle, as
Sure,
your
sure.
first or your most embarrassing story that you think you could turn into a bit?
No, but man, the escalator 2 one, that one stuck with me for a long time. Most embarrassing. It's not sexual, dude. I don't even know.
Not even, they're all sexual?
I mean, there's been some embarrassing sexual ones, of course. Everybody does at some point or another.
Well, let them rip.
Dude, I don't want to.
You asked if you can talk about anything.
All right, I 2-pump chumped once. It fucking happens, you know? Nobody wants to talk about that either, too.
2-pump chump.
Dude, that's a thing that girls have over guys. Guys, look, I'll admit it. Girls have it a lot harder than most guys. Guys can be sexually, like, made fun of so easy. What are you going to do, say, to a girl for the most part? Like I get it. Like, there are assholes that be like, oh, she's fat, whatever. But if a guy's born with a small dick, dude, he just lives that. I'm average, by the get in my DMs. No, but everything else, tough. I don't even know where I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, I mean that's probably it, I guess. You know,
Well,
Escalator 2 stuck for a long time. That was the
Really?
one that got to me. That's why I'm doing comedy now, because I'm a bitch. You know, but oh well.
Man, I don't know if you could turn those into bits.
Yeah, I'll work
You
on
really
it.
have to work on them.
I've thought about one, but you know, what are you gonna do? So I'll work it out at some point.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Okay. I again, like just in like films I had to make out with a wooden chair in a film
Ooh.
that they actually have in the TriCaster somewhere. Sometimes when I'm talking to my guests after shows,
Yeah.
they'll unannounce it, but my buddies will put it up on the screen.
Don't
And I'll
just
just be
burn
like-
that film. OnlyFans,
It
dude.
won- it
There's
won-
a market for that.
It
dude.
won an award. Weirdest film at like the Miami Underground Film Festival.
I love that for you.
And I'm like, award-winning actor, baby.
Award-winning actor. Soup of the day, making out with chairs. Dude, you're big in, I don't even know. You're big in some parts of Asia.
First time I go to South Beach, it's you.
It's you.
It's holy
You're
shit.
You're the Miami Underground Film Festival. Dude. Woo, you got splinters in the gums? Like, what are you?
I think my name was like Ralphie or something. It's Ralphie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
No way.
That's a rough one.
Want to hear the story of the time J-Lo winked at me?
Yeah, why are you letting me talk? Give me that
We'll end
story.
with this. I think I've told this on the show a few times, way back in the day, like the first 50 or 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm. I do have one embarrassing one after. Keep going, sorry.
No, you go.
Okay.
No,
Sorry.
no, we'll end
you
with
go,
you.
You go.
I'm a humble guest. I'll
Go
let
for it.
you.
No,
I'll
sorry.
let you main event.
I'm cutting you off. Go.
But it was a ESPN Sunday Night Baseball broadcast. I was working security for the Arizona Diamondbacks. This
Yeah.
was 5 years ago, like freshman year in college.
Yeah.
Freshman year in college job, working with a baseball team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alex Rodriguez, who was dating J-Lo at the time, Matt Vasgersian, Jessica Mendoza. I think they're the 3 ESPN broadcasters. My job that night was to guard the production truck that they were
Got
going to
it.
be coming into and out of before the game and after the game. So after
Look how
the game,
far you've come.
after the
Security
game
to
was
this.
over. Yeah. Right? But I was guarding the truck that came in. I was like, oh, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Vasgersian, like, don't even, like, give me the light of day. Don't even acknowledge me, right? Just
Yeah.
go, then you go into the truck. So I'm like, all right, my shift's basically over. I really have to go to the bathroom at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, where can I go? Like, there's a porta potty, like, right across from the production truck. I'm like, hey, you got, like, a walkie-talkie. I'm like, can I go to the bathroom? They're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Go for it.
And I go in there, got to take a deuce. Number 2 at a porta potty is just like never fun, right?
Yeah.
And there's no lock on the porta potty, which sucks because like
Yeah.
I'm always anxious. I'm like, who's gonna come
Kind
in?
of holding it, hoping.
right?
Like,
I didn't even think that far. I
you
probably
could kick it
could've
open
done- I
too. Say,
probably
hey, come
could've
on
done
in.
that.
It's a porta potty. Everything goes.
But like, you know that feeling when like you're just in the bathroom and you're so vulnerable and someone just like walks
Yeah.
in without knocking and
Yeah.
you're just like, someone's in here, like that John Mulaney bit. He's like,
Yeah,
someone's
yeah.
in here, and it was A-Rod. Okay, like I grew up a New York Yankee fan. Like that guy was one of my like
He's got
idols
to a
growing
Yankee
up,
fan.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, A-Rod just saw my junk. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna? And I like was just like wiping my ass. Like, what am I gonna say to A-Rod out there?
Yeah,
Like the guy just, and he's just waiting patiently. Like he was like, "Ooh, sorry." But I got out of there. I'm like, Mr. Rodriguez, so sorry about that. He just like slapped his big baseball mitt on my chest, like 5-starred me in the chest.
Yeah.
He's like, at least it wasn't Jennifer, man. Went into the bathroom. I turned around, like a Chevy Tahoe's just waiting. She's in the passenger seat.
Nice.
And she just like winked at me. I'm like, okay. And
right.
I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will take it.
Yeah. That's a good one, man. That's awesome. I thought you were going to walk out and he's like, packing heat, Jackie boy.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
That would have been amazing. He's
Like, oh, thanks
I played
for the
baseball.
push.
I played baseball. That's a bat.
I've seen some logs in my day, man.
Yeah. Mine, I'll do mine real quick. It wasn't even that embarrassing, but I remember just feeling like under the barrel of a gun. I was doing extra work for the show Bloodline, which was shot down in South Florida.
Yeah.
I was back for the summer. I don't want to say Kyle Chandler. So Kyle Chandler is the guy that did like Friday Night Lights. He's the main guy in Bloodline. He was on a bunch of stuff.
He was in the most depressing movie of all time, Manchester by the Sea, with Casey
Affleck. Yep, that's the guy. And so in it, I'm just an extra, whatever. You know, I just love seeing what's going on. And my whole role was I was his daughter's like boyfriend picking her up in a car. And so we had to do 15 takes where I pull a car in, then I have to back up the car, go, and she like gets into the car. So there's two things that was embarrassing. After like the 15th take, they do a break, and he walks up over there and he just goes, "Hey man, you're gonna pick up my fucking daughter and not say anything to me?" And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, Kyle. And he goes, "Nah, I'm just fucking with you, man. You having a good day? Like, thanks so much for coming out." I was like, holy shit. Like that.
What? Did you confront him about it? Like, what the fuck, man? Or
No,
was it
no,
like, oh, yes, sir?
I was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because it's his daughter in the show. It's not even his real daughter or whatever. But he's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. So he was like a really cool guy. And then the other thing was, we did that take like 15 times. And me and the girl, like we're in like a tinted car. We didn't think that the cameras could see us through. So it wasn't even that bad. But we did like fucking 15, 20. After like the 14th one, they're like, "Hey, you guys know we can see your face through the camera, right?" And so the whole scene is like she gets in, and you can actually see it. The clip that they kept, I just like look at her, look forward, and then back up like a robot, dude. And that's on Netflix forever. And so that was it. I mean, that was the whole thing.
Why aren't we promoting this?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be that extra
Fuck
guy
stand
that's
up.
like, you guys don't understand, dude. I had 3 seconds on
I'm
Bloodline.
killing. I murdered it on
Fucking-
Bloodline.
Do you know how many girls have gotten from that show? No. But
Not Adam Black.
not Adam Black. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on for the O'Hara show. I like it.
Thank you very much.
It's awesome.
It's the O Show, by the way.
The O show. Shoot. I'll do research next
So
time.
many people come in here, they're like, the O'Hare Show. I'm like, that's not even my last name.
Yeah, O'Hare is not. Yeah.
I'm like, where are you getting that?
LA to O'Hare. Yeah.
Like, do you read? Like, are you blind?
We just think
Do
of an
you use your
airport because your
eyes?
career's taken off, man.
I got to do a gig at O'Hare Airport. I'll be the airport guy.
Do it, dude. Honestly,
the airport special.
You should just pitch Jesus in the front. You know, I'll go with you. I know some missionary stuff. We'll make some converts.
The most controversial Netflix special of all time. Attacking Christians, attacking airports.
Yeah.
Where will these two stop?
Where will they? We're gonna get canceled tomorrow. So
Well, that's not Adam Black.
Thanks so
I
much.
am Jack O'Hara. Those are our Instagram handles. But this was episode 501 of the podcast, guys. Check them out. Do you have any other shows that are booked coming up?
yeah, so I'm gonna be at House of Comedy April 6th on Daniel Bridgegat's show.
Yes,
it's
sir.
called DGB and Friends. So
There you go. I'll be at Tempe Improv on April 14th. I need at least 10 people to show up to do it, though. So
I'll go with you.
there you go. I got one. I need 9 more people to show up in order to do it. But this was episode 501. Guys, head on over to Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Scottsdale. Remember to sign up for that. It's a workout developed by the man, ladies and gentlemen, Floyd Money Mayweather, the most badass, undefeated lightweight champion in history. Also use that promo code, capital BLEAV 50 for 50% off using betonline.ag. Hit the lights, Hank.